Hello, Christ family. We're back. Happy Sunday. God bless. We're back, and we're still on the book of Matthew. Today, we're gonna go into chapter 8, and the kids are here. They're motivated. They're ready. They have their note-taking materials, and here we go. All right. So, Jesus performs many miracles. All right, so large crowds followed Jesus as he came down the mountainside. Suddenly, a man with leprosy approached him and knelt before him. "Lord," the man said, "if you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean." Okay? If you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean. Now, do you guys know what leprosy is? Do you know what leprosy is? Leprosy is like a sickness, a disease that people get. It gives them like bumps and blisters, and it makes your skin like really ugly and disfigured. Ew. Right? It's kind of yucky. But it's not their fault that they have the disease, or they're just sick, right? But what happens is when people have this disease, they get looked at. And they get, people make bad faces at them, ugly faces at them because they're like, ew, this is disgusting. So they treat them differently. So when you have leprosy, people treat you different. Even though you might be a nice person, you might be, a good person, but because you have leprosy, people treat you different. Okay? Mm-hmm. So this man is saying to Jesus, please, if you're willing, can you heal me? Okay? So let's go through it again. "Lord," the man said, "if you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean." Jesus reached out and touched him. "I am willing," he said. "Be healed." And instantly the leprosy disappeared. Then Jesus said to him, "Don't tell anyone about this. Instead, go to the priest and let him examine you. Take along the offering required in the law of Moses for those who have been healed of leprosy. This will be a public testimony that you have been cleansed." And the reason why he made him go back to the priest is because back then in those times, the priest was the one who checked if somebody still had leprosy or not. Okay, and then if the leprosy was gone, you could be part of the community again. And that was the priest's job. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. A Roman officer demonstrates faith. Okay, so let's go into the next section. When Jesus returned to Capernaum, a Roman officer came and pleaded with him, "Lord, my young servant lies in bed paralyzed and in terrible pain." So the soldier is saying that he has a servant that is in bed and he's paralyzed, which means he can't move. So he can't move. He's stuck in bed and he can't move. Mm-hmm. Jesus said, "I will come and heal him." But the officer said, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you come into my home. Just say the word from where you are, and my servant will be healed. I know this because I am under the authority of my superior officers, and I have authority over my soldiers. I only need to say, 'Go,' and they go, or 'Come,' and they come. And if I say to my slaves, 'Do this,' they do it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed. Turning to those who were following him, he said, "I tell you the truth. I haven't seen faith like this in all of Israel. And I tell you this, that many Gentiles will come from all over the world, from east and west, and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at the feast in the kingdom of heaven." Where are they going to come from, Armani? Heaven. And where are they going to come from? You're not paying attention. Let me take this. Put this over here. You don't need this anymore. All right. Let's cycle back a little bit. So, but the officer said, Lord, I am not worthy to have you come into my home. Just say the word from where you are, and my servant will be healed. I know this because I am under the authority of my superior officers. See, okay, so my bosses tell me what to do, and then I have authority over my soldiers, and I tell them what to do. Okay? I only need to say go, and they go, or come, and then they'll come. That's what he tells his soldiers. He tells them go, and then they go, or come, and then they come. So he understands their authority. That means he's in control. He's the boss. So he's saying that he understands that Jesus has authority. And if I say to my slaves, do this, they do it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed. Turning to those who were following him, he said, I tell you the truth. I haven't seen faith like this in all Israel. And I tell you this, that many Gentiles will come from all over the world, from east and west, and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at the feast in the kingdom of heaven. So Jesus is saying that there's going to be people that come from all over the world, and they're going to sit down in heaven with Abraham, with the prophet Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, when everything is finished in heaven, because of their faith. But many Israelites, those for whom the kingdom was prepared, will be thrown into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now, I'm going to explain to you what that means. Jesus Christ himself was a Jew. Okay? That was the people that he came from. He was a Jew. And in the Bible, the Bible talks about God's people. And God's people is the Israelites. Okay? The Jews. Now, there are some people that are Jews, okay, that don't follow God's teachings. Okay? So even though they're God's people, they're rebellious and they don't follow God's teachings. Yet, there are other people who aren't Jews, who aren't Israelites, aren't of that same people, that are from outside of that family, outside people, that they actually follow God and listen to God. So what Jesus is saying here is that even those Gentiles, that's what that word means, Gentiles is people who are outside of that family, they are going to enjoy in the feast of the kingdom of heaven with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But even some people who are Israelites, for whom the kingdom was prepared, okay, will be thrown into outer darkness. So even though they're part of the family, if they're not following and listening to God, they're going to be thrown out into outer darkness, okay, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Weeping is crying. Gnashing of teeth is like when people grind their teeth. And that's like when you're nervous, you're panicked, you're scared, you're afraid. And that is forever. That's eternal. So that's what a lot of people look to describe what, the bad word that we don't like to talk about is hell. So that's what weeping and gnashing of teeth explains. So what Jesus is saying is follow him, follow his teachings, and understand authority and how things work, just like this soldier understands, okay? Then Jesus said to the Roman officer, go back home, because you believed, it has happened. And the young servant was healed that same hour. So because the soldier listened to how Jesus was speaking and what he was saying, and he understood, Jesus confirmed with him that his soldier was already healed. So he just confirmed what he understood, what he believed. Okay?
Where are you?
I am right here. I just finished here. Okay? And you see these words in red letters? You see all these words in red letters? Whenever you pick up a Bible and you see these red letters, that is what that's what is the words of Jesus. So whenever you see red letters, that's to show what the words of Jesus were. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's where the outer darkness is.
Is that what God said?
That's what Jesus said, yes. So what he's saying here is, again, to have faith and to do things the way that God authorizes. Okay? So because the Roman officer understood, he sent him back home, and because he believed and he had faith, his young servant was healed. Okay? Alright, let's keep moving. Good job, good job. Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law and many others. So, when Jesus arrived at Peter's house, Peter's mother-in-law was sick in bed with a high fever. But when Jesus touched her hand, the fever left her. Then she got up and prepared a meal for him. So he just touched her hand and the fever was gone. He took her fever away. So he made her healthy again just by touching her. That evening, many demon-possessed people were brought to Jesus. This is people who had demons inside of them. Okay? Just regular people like you and me, but they had a bad demons inside of them. They're making them think and just do and think awful thoughts. Okay? That's not good. We can talk about that. But demon possessors, like when you have like evil, you do evil things. You have evil things in your mind that you want to do.
I don't do them, but I just think.
Okay, well, thinking about something is one thing, but if you have a demon inside of you, that would be where it controls everything that you do. Okay? Now let's keep reading. That evening, many demon-possessed people were brought to Jesus. He cast out the evil spirits with a simple command. So he pulled all the evil spirits out with a simple command, and he healed all the sick. This fulfilled the word of the Lord through the prophet Isaiah, who said, "He took our sicknesses and removed our diseases." He took our sicknesses and removed our diseases. So back in the Old Testament, in the Bible, the prophet Isaiah said these words, that somebody was going to come in a prophecy, and he would take our sicknesses and remove our diseases. All right? So Jesus pulled the evil out of the people with a simple command. He told them, "Get out." Okay? All right. Jesus teaches about the cost of following him. Okay? About halfway, a little bit past halfway done here. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he instructed his disciples to cross to the other side of the lake. Okay? So they're on one side of the lake, and Jesus is telling his followers, go to the other side of the lake. Okay? Cross. Okay, that means go across the lake. Okay? Then one of the teachers of religious law said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go," he said. He said to Jesus, "I will follow you wherever you go." But Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens to live in, and birds have nests. But the Son of Man has no place even to lay his head." Okay, no place even to lay his head. Now, hold on a second. Hold on. Another of his disciples said, "Lord, first let me return home and bury my father." But Jesus told him, "Follow me now. Let the spiritually dead bury their own dead." Now let's explain what this means, okay? All right, so I'm looking here at a commentary now to give us a little context. It says, following Jesus is not always easy or comfortable, but often it means great cost and sacrifice with no earthly rewards or security. Jesus didn't have a place to call home, you may find that following Christ costs you popularity, it might cost you friendships, leisure time, or even some of your treasured habits. But while the cost of following Christ is high, the value of being Christ's disciple is even higher. Discipleship is an investment that lasts for eternity and yields incredible rewards. Wow, that's beautiful. That's a great commentary. So, following Jesus is not easy. It's not always easy, but it has the best reward. Hallelujah. Okay. Let's see. And then in 22. What's that? Yeah, you have a question? Go ahead.
It was on the other page.
What was the question?
When, I think it was when Jesus said that he hasn't seen,
Faith,
yeah, so much
like the
faith.
soldier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How come he hasn't seen that? Like,
Well, so that's so he was actually surprised. Like Jesus, he couldn't believe. Well, he obviously could believe, but he hadn't. He wanted to show his followers that the Roman soldier understood how powerful Jesus was, because he was telling the soldier. Let's see. Let's go back here. Okay, so he tells the soldier, I will come and heal him. Okay, I will go and heal him. But the officer said, I'm not worthy to have you come into my house. So me and my house are not worthy enough of you even coming to our house. And you're so powerful, so strong, that you could be standing right where you are and heal him. You don't even have to come to my house. You can heal him right now. That's what he was telling Jesus. And Jesus was amazed that he knew that, and he was so faithful and understood that I don't even have to go to your house to heal him. So he displayed great faith. And that's why he told them at the very end, he said, now go back home because you believed it has happened. In other words, I've already healed him. So before you even get home, he's already going to be healthy. Make sense? All right. All right, let's get back to where we were.
after this, are we on chapter 9?
Well, we're almost done, okay? Jesus calms the storm. Then Jesus got into the boat. Listen. Then Jesus got into the boat and started across the lake with his disciples. So he's getting ready to cross the lake with his disciples. Suddenly a fierce storm struck the lake, with waves breaking into the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, Lord, save us, we're going to drown. Jesus responded, why are you afraid? You have so little faith. Then he got up and rebuked the wind and waves, and suddenly there was a great calm. So, okay, there was a great calm. So he rebuked. Rebuke means he pushed it back, he pushed it away, he took care of it. Okay, so there was no more wind and no more waves, and he calmed it, and then everything was calm. Imagine that there's like a storm outside, and it's going crazy, all the wind and the waves, and then Jesus wakes up, and he rebukes the wind and the waves, and everything is calm.
Okay.
It's just like the water's flat, no more wind, no more nothing. Hold on, hold your question. The disciples were amazed. Who is this man? They asked. Even the winds and the waves obey him. Even the winds and the waves obey him. Okay? What was your question?
The question was, when you said the wind and the waves, wasn't that like just like the story about where God he flooded the earth?
No, we're talking about this. We're not talking about other stories. We're talking about this. Remember what we talked about? We only ask questions about what we're reading, not other stuff. Okay? So you're talking about the book of, or not the book of, you're talking about the Ark of Noah. Yeah, but we're not talking about Noah's Ark. We're talking about something else. So the reason why they were afraid was because they had little faith and they didn't remember that they had Jesus Christ with them on the boat. So if you have God with you on the boat, are you going to be scared about the waves and the wind crashing on the outside of the boat? No, why?
Because
God is with you. God is with you. He's on the boat. He's on the boat with you. And more so than that, it's a spiritual concept too. God is with us all the time. Okay, so even if we're in a tough spot or we're somewhere, say, dangerous or something like that, He is in our hearts. He is in our hearts. Okay, and He protects us. Okay, He protects us. All right. Where are we? Okay, so this is the last section. Jesus sends demons into a herd of pigs. Now pay attention to this. When Jesus arrived on the other side of the lake, okay, in the region of the Gadarenes, 2 men who were possessed by demons met him. They lived in a cemetery and were so violent that no one could go through that area. Okay, so they lived in a cemetery where, you know where a cemetery is, right? Where they buried dead people. And they were so violent that nobody wanted to go close to that area. They began screaming at him. They began screaming at Jesus, okay? Why are you interfering with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torture us before God's appointed time? There happened to be a large herd of pigs feeding in the distance. So nearby there was, well, no, it says in the distance. So there was some pigs, a herd of pigs in the distance. So the demons begged, if you cast us out, send us into that herd of pigs. Okay? So the demons that were inside the men, okay, are you listening? The demons that were inside the men were talking to Jesus. And Jesus, and they were telling Jesus, if you cast us out, send us into that herd of pigs. So if you pull us out of these 2 men, send us into this herd of pigs. And Jesus said, all right, go. Jesus commanded them. So the demons came out of the men. Okay? The demons came out of the men and entered the pigs. Okay? So these spirits, these bad spirits, they came out of the men. The evil spirits came out of the men, and then they went into the pigs that were feeding on the hill. Okay? And the whole herd of pigs plunged down the steep hillside into the lake and drowned in the water. All of them, the whole herd plunged down, so they basically ran down, okay? After he pulled the demons out of the men, he told them to go into the pigs, and then the pigs ran into the lake and drowned in the water. Okay, hold on, let me finish. The herdsmen fled to the nearby town, telling everyone what happened to the demon-possessed men. Then the entire town came out to meet Jesus, but they begged him to go away and leave them alone. So they were scared. Now, demons are afraid of Jesus. So the men weren't actually the ones talking to Jesus. It was the demons that were inside the men that were controlling the men that were talking to Jesus. And they said, because they knew that they were in big trouble because he had arrived, they said, well, send us into those pigs. But they didn't know that Jesus would go ahead and do that, and that they would end up being plunged into the lake and drowned in the water. Now let's read a commentary so we can have some understanding on this, okay? All right. When the demons entered the pigs, they drove the animals into the sea. The demons' action proves their destructive intent. If they could not destroy the men, they would destroy the pigs. Jesus' action, by contrast, shows the value he places on each human life. Interesting. So it's a little bit different from what I said. So basically, they just wanted to destroy something. So Jesus, according to this commentary, Jesus wanted to save the two men, even though the demons destroyed the pigs. Interesting. And then in 33, we see that the people in the nearby town were afraid, and they begged him to go away and leave them alone, because they were kind of afraid and a little freaked out by what was going on. Okay, any questions?
Mommy.
Any questions?
When you were on the part,
Do you remember or no?
what is a miracle?
What is a miracle? That's a good question.
And you said yes or no.
Not yes or no. A miracle is something that we can't do by ourselves. It's something that our mind can't understand. All right, a miracle is something that only God can do. Okay, like if somebody were to go outside and they turn the whole sky and make it turn green, you'd be like, wow, that's a little strange because we can't turn the sky green. But if it was green, we'd be like, wow, that's a miracle. So something like that would be something considered a miracle. So Jesus healing people is a miracle, because if you have a fever and Jesus came and just went like this, took you by the hand, and then your fever went away, that would be a miracle, because he just healed you and he didn't do anything other than just touch your hand. You understand? That's a miracle. Making the leper with the skin disease, okay, making him healthy again, that was a miracle. Okay? Any questions? You got any questions? Sure.
It was the part where the demons wanted to fall into the herd of pigs. Where they asking or demanding to go to them?
That's a fantastic question. That's a fantastic question. It's almost like they were trying to make, so even though God is always in control and he is in charge, it's almost like they were trying to ask Jesus to allow them to do something else, because they knew that Jesus was not going to let them be in charge of the men anymore. So Jesus said, all right, go. So then that's why they went into the pigs. And then the pigs ran down the hill and drowned themselves. Now I've heard different, I guess, commentaries on what that means. This one said that the demons wanted to destroy something, and because they couldn't destroy the men, they were like, okay, well then at least we're gonna destroy all these pigs. It's like it at least destroyed something. The other thing that I have heard in other commentaries is that the demons were so afraid of Jesus that they wanted to be away from Jesus, and they actually were scared and they went into the pigs, and then because they were scared of Jesus, they ran down the hill and drowned themselves because they were so afraid of him. So I guess my answer is, I don't know which one of those is more true, but what we know is that that Jesus was in control and he was in charge, and he took the demons out of the men. Okay? Any more questions?
Wait, yes, I have.
What?
Was actually something I need to tell you.
Okay. So, all right. So we're done here. Thank you, and we'll see you next time for chapter 9.